Hey, we are live. We had a little bit of a technical difficulties getting started today, but we're live now. Michelle, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's been a pretty good day so far. As you can see, we're missing somebody. Nick, where's Nick at? Well, actually, Nick is Nick is he had to go out of town, unfortunately, and we definitely send our thoughts and prayers to his family. He had to go up north and visit some family members that are dealing with some health challenges right now. So we gave him the night off to be able to go be with his family. So we understand that. We also want to give a special shout out and thoughts and prayers to a good friend of ours and a regular listener when he can, Raymar, somebody I've been friends with forever. Unfortunately, found out he has COVID-19. He's in the hospital right now. So, just thinking about him and making sure that he recovers and gets healthy as soon as possible and as quickly as possible. So other than that, what's your week been like since we debuted your video last week? Did you have a bunch of friends tell you, hey, you did a great video?
No. No, I did not. I'm definitely not a celebrity of St. Augustine yet.
Well, that's okay. It all has to start somewhere, right? And like I told you that day, I was proud of you for doing it. Regardless of, that's one of those things, regardless if anybody sees any of it or not, the most important thing is we did it and we started. So, guys, thank you for joining us. Those of you guys that are on already, thank you for joining us. Please drop a comment in the comment box. Let us know you're here. Let us know where you're checking in from. As always, you are more than welcome to ask questions. This is about being interactive. We want you guys to make sure that you're involved. I mean, if you're watching, then we want you to get something out of it. So please don't hesitate to make a comment. I will tell you that if you're watching from a watch party or somewhere like that, we may not see your comments. Sometimes those don't come through. So please, if you can, try to comment directly from the group, and that way we'll be able to see those comments. So let's see. We have an exciting thing tonight, and I'm excited about this tonight because this is an area where I know that I think all of us struggle with as both business owners and then just as entities in the event world and any business is just tonight we're going to be talking about branding. We're going to be talking about your social identity. We're going to be talking about standing out. All right. Hey, it's Ernie and Aaron. They were on last week with us. Hey, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you. So, we're going to be talking about those things because, right now is the best time, I think, to be working on these things because, events are not really happening, at least at the capacity that we want them to happen. Most of our calendars have probably slowed down quite a bit. And when it's time to get back into the fold and it's time to get back out there, why not come strong? Why not come powerful and, stand out in your market and stand out amongst everybody else who's going to be doing the same thing? We're all going to be vying for, business and more importantly than ever, trying to build our businesses up. So I'm excited about tonight's talk. I'm excited about our guest. We actually met each other via Instagram, where I think don't we all kind of meet people on social media now? All of a sudden, it's kind of cool. But it's neat in the sense that you have the ability. We were talking about this off camera before we came on. It's neat that you have the ability to meet people that are outside of your market that can help give you a different perspective, that aren't necessarily influenced by the market that you live within. And sometimes that really helps with being able to think outside the box and be able to kind of think outside of where you're at. So without further ado, I think we're going to get started and bring her in. So Tay, come on in and join us. This is Tay from It's VA Tay. And I got to tell you something funny real quick before we get started. One of my buddies sent me a message and said, hey, I saw that you were going to have Miss Virginia on the talk with you tonight. And I said, Miss Virginia? And he's like, yeah, isn't that what VA stands for? And I'm like, man, that is why I can't have you be a part of it. Are you kidding me?
Oh, that is awesome.
So those of you who don't realize that VA does not stand for Virginia, now we know it stands for virtual assistant. Come on now. So
I've had a lot of people ask me. They have no idea. I feel like I don't know what that is.
Isn't that so interesting? It's really intriguing. Well, Tay, thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate having you on. And I'm excited to hear the information that you have to share with our listeners, our watchers, or, our members. And again, remember, guys, if you have questions, Tay is here to help. Tay is here to kind of help you maybe with some of these areas. And so we're going to dive in. The first thing we want to kind of dive into is kind of business mindset. And Tay, I'm just going to kind of turn it over to you. And Michelle and I, maybe we'll just kind of jump in with some questions as we kind of dive into this topic of business mindset.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. So for business mindset, whenever I work with a client, no matter what we're going to work on, whether it's like social media or email detox or just coaching, I always start with a mindset meeting. And the reason I do it is because it's very interesting to see not only how people think, but what they're thinking that's actually holding them back in their business and they don't even know it. So of course, the most I get is like, I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't have knowledge, which is all just a limiting belief that is holding you back really from your future. So digging deep into, what is holding you back from where you want to be in your business and even the way you're living your life. So mindset is not only business driven, it's life driven. Like how do you live your life and how is that getting you closer to your goals? Or is it maybe it's holding you back from your goals? So that's how I start all my client meetings.
You mentioned email detox. Tell me a little bit about that. That sounds interesting to me. I might need help with that for sure.
So I am I'm absolutely like OCD, very, I have to reply to everything. I cannot stand an inbox that has anything. So every day I, of course, clean out my inbox as soon as I get into my office and before I leave it. However, with clients, a lot of people in the wedding industry are either like, I'm having my inbox flooded and I don't have the time, or I just don't want to do it. So where I come in is I check their emails every morning and every afternoon. I reply to all inquiries. I reply to all clients, vendors, pretty much run the back end of their business. And I've had clients tell me like, I do not want to look at my inbox. Like I'm not going to check it. So just handle it. And if you have a question, let me know. I only do that for a very limited amount of clients, of course, because I'm only one person. Sure. But in my company, we're growing an agency. So they'll be offering that to all clients.
That's interesting. So that's a service you actually offer to them. That's pretty cool. I do like that. That's pretty neat. So I'm 100% on board with the whole mindset thing. I think that, and especially right now in the tough times that we're all dealing with, it is so easy to get discouraged. It's so easy to get knocked off course and kind of moved, pushed away, if you will. So just life and what's going on can really push you away from remembering why you started in the first place. And I think that's a big part of what you're saying is having those times to be able to know when to almost acknowledge like, okay, I can sense that I'm getting pushed away here. I need to go back to think about these things.
I have two questions. One, who are your clients? Like in the wedding industry, are they?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear me.
I'm not able to hear Michelle.
Oh goodness. Okay, Michelle, go ahead, and I'll just repeat your questions for her so she can hear.
So who are your clients? I know they're in the wedding industry. Are they photographers, DJs? Like what clientele do you work with the most? And two, when you do your mindset, when you start that conversation with your client in the beginning, is it a questionnaire you have? Like how do you go about, figuring out where their mindset is? Is it, I guess, a set template, or is it always different?
Okay, so she's basically asking Tay, like, what are the majority of wedding professionals that maybe you're working with? Is it more photographers, wedding planners? Is it a sporadic group, or is it a kind of an isolated group? Is the first question, and the second question is in dealing with the mindset situation. Is it like a template page that maybe you have them fill out, or is it different for each particular individual based on maybe even their goals?
So right now I have more DJs than any other clients, but in the last 5 years, I would say photographers and planners were top. But now DJs are kind of kicking up to the top too. And I've worked with florists, caterers, venues. I've worked with pretty much every vendor, but planners and DJs, they seem to be the most that I work with. And then I'm sorry, what was the last part of the question?
That's okay. She was just asking, is there like a kind of like a form that you have them fill out on the whole mindset deal, or is it more of a conversation where it's maybe a little bit more personalized to those individuals?
Okay, so whenever I onboard a client, they get a whole welcome kit, and in there is also like homework and client questionnaire. So that's very general. That's just tells me more about you and your life, because I'm very with my company, our core values are that we treat our clients as if they're like friends or family. Like I can tell you, I've been with a couple vendors for years, so I can tell you like their wife, their kids, what they do on their off time. But then we do a 1 hour, like a 45-minute video call, and that is where I ask deep mindset questions just to get them thinking, and to get sometimes they don't know I'm asking a question, and then they'll give me a true answer. It won't be like filtered, and then I'll be like, okay, so really what you're telling me is you're lacking, this, or you're just fearful. Maybe you're fearful of success. I see that a lot, that people, they will back down from success because they're like, well, I am scared, then I'll have to hire a team, and then I'll have to outsource, and then I'll have to do all these things if I become too successful. And they'll start backing themselves down from being successful, but they tell me, oh, I want to be a 6-figure vendor. I'm like, well, you can't do both. So we kind of work through that, and then it becomes custom after that point, because then I'll know, okay, well, this client needs me to help them with confidence, getting on Instagram Live and being personable, but this client needs me to continue to push them and say, look, COVID's not ruining the wedding industry. We're all going to get through this. It's just a hard time. So it's really just at first a general, and then it goes into more custom as I get to know the client.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. So one of the things that you mentioned was being a 6-figure business owner. I think that's probably anybody that, is serious about getting into business, which is obviously what we hope most of our members are, people that don't necessarily, there's nothing wrong with doing this, whatever we all do as a hobby, but at the end of the day, why not turn it into a business? I mean, you're either going to do it or not do it. So why not turn it into a business? So thinking from the standpoint of a money mindset, I know you had mentioned a little bit to me about the concept of working hard versus taking risks. So that was interesting to me. Can you maybe expand on that a little bit with with the crew?
Oh, for sure. So I actually experienced this, still do. My parents are very old school. They're very like, work hard for things that you want in your life. And I don't disagree that you should, like, nothing should just like really be a handout. However, you can work hard your whole life. That doesn't equal success. What equals success is change, being uncomfortable, and taking huge risks. And I will tell you, I quit my job 7 months pregnant. I had maybe $100 to my name, and I dropped out of college, and I said, I'm going to start a company. And everyone told me, like, that is the stupidest thing you could ever do. Like, what are you doing? You're pregnant. You have no money. You have no degree. Here I am, almost 5 years in business, and I'm the breadwinner of my family, and I take care of, my life. And it was the best decision I ever made, but it was the scariest jump I ever made. So do I tell everyone like, hey, quit your job? No, but you do have to take big risks in life to get big rewards.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. And your daughter's beautiful, by the way. I see all the posts that you put of you guys out on. You mentioned also about Instagram Live. You guys have that on lock, like all the time. I'm seeing pictures of you guys and videos of you guys. So
thanks.
That's super cool. That's super cool, and it's great to be able to see kind of the personal side of people. It's really easy to get so dialed and focused in on only showcasing the business side of yourself, and having children or having a family, or a lot of times those are the reasons. And I think any of us who's been around the business world at any point in time have heard those be defined as your why, like why you do what you do. And I know that's super big. I know that's super big in how you work with people as well. So let's talk about that a little bit for a while, because I think really, sometimes people have like sort of this, why do you do this? Oh, because I want to make money. Well, yeah, but is that like strong enough to, for example, go through COVID-19? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that a strong enough why?
Yeah, that's great. So a lot of people will tell me like I do this for my kids and I'm like, okay, but why? Like why do you do that? Or they'll say for money and I'll say, okay, but why? There's always a deeper meaning behind that why. And if there's not, or if your why is for somebody else, you will not be long lasting. It will not sustain. So you need to continue either changing your why or really digging deep into what your why is. So in the beginning, my why was being at home because I was going to be a new mom, but it was also more than that. It was like the freedom and just being able to do what I wanted and be with my child. But today my why is like so much different. It's a lot bigger. Like I want to retire my family. I want to build a home. I want to do things that make me feel better. I want to be able to give back. So my why consistently changes. And then also why I do what I do is because I love that feeling of like you help someone succeed in their business, and it's just like chills down the spine. I'll never forget, I worked with a client and he kind of told me, this is like do or die. Like my business is either going to tank or it's going to take off and I have no money. So I'm basically paying you off of a credit card, but this is my last shot. And to last Christmas, so we've now been working together for over 2 years. Last Christmas, he called me. He asked if he could double his package because he just hit $250,000 in revenue. And I cried.
Wow. That's awesome.
It was amazing. So that is my why, because I love that feeling of knowing that I'm contributing to someone else's success and happiness.
Yeah. And I think that's a big reason for this group. That's a big reason why I think the universe attracted us to each other in the first place, is because of exactly what you said right there. Our goal is to definitely help businesses, exceed what they think they're capable of doing. And just want to remind you guys, if you're watching right now, thank you for being on board with us. We've got Tay with us from It's VA Tay. If you have questions, please drop them in the comments. We're doing our best to monitor those comments so that we can get your questions answered. If you do have a comment, a comment or a question, please drop those down there. And we will definitely go ahead and get those answered for you. So we're kind of talking about the why right now, about your business. And I think it's an interesting topic that can shift the mindset of how you present your business and how you,
For sure.
Present not only your business, but yourself as well. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that, because I know that's something that really resonates with you as well.
So I rebranded recently and I started coaching. And the reason I started coaching is because I would have a lot of people reach out to me or follow me or ask me to look at, their social media pages, their website pages. And all I'm seeing is what they do. And then they're like, I know there's like a lot of people in our industry that do the same thing. And I'm like, you're right, because you all are vendors. Like you're all either a wedding planner or you're all a photographer. Yes, you all do the same things, which is your what you do, what your services are, but why you do it, and your mission, your philosophy, your business why is what's going to set you apart from everybody else in the industry. So it's like Apple versus Dell. Dell sells computers, Apple sells a lifestyle. Apple could probably drop any piece of technology and people who are loyal to Apple, me being one of them, will buy it. It doesn't matter what it is. Like it could just be anything. Now, if Dell started dropping phones, you'd be like, this is sketch.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
Dell is a what? They're a what company, and that's all they're ever going to be. Apple is a why. They sell a why. They sell a lifestyle. Their marketing is, they have literally like a cult like following because of their why. And so that alone will tell you that is what keeps you standing out in a market, because nobody else can be your why. And a lot of times I'll tell people, like, there is hardly ever anything in this world that is the same product or service, like the same price, the same quality, the same customer care. Like it just doesn't happen. And what's better or best to you may not be better or best to me. So for a single guy, a single bachelor, what's better to him is a Ferrari, but what might be better to me is an SUV because I have a kid. So it's all about the perspective of, people following you because you're loyal and because they like you based on that's better or best to them. not what's better or best to the world, because we could debate that all day.
Right.
So that establishing that in your business is really what's going to set you apart from everybody else. And people, when they first hear about you, what do? They either check your Instagram, or they check your website, or they check your social media pages. For me, if I check a social media page and it's just a bunch of weddings, I'm like, okay, you're a wedding vendor. I get it. But what else are you? What do you do outside of being a wedding vendor? Do you have kids? Do you have a husband? Do you like to travel? Do you like to drink excessively? Like, tell me. I want to know. I'm not ashamed. I don't care. I don't judge, but tell me more. And the more you dig deep, are we still on?
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay. The more you dig deep into why you do what you do, and you can express that freely, the more people are going to not only buy from you, but they're going to like be loyal followers of whatever it is that you choose to do.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting to that point. I had somebody talk to me that kind of gave me kind of that assessment, if you will, or kind of gave me that self-check, because they looked at my Instagram and they kind of said, hey, if I was looking at your Instagram and I see like because I used to do, and I think all of us that are DJs probably did this at one point in time in our career, where it's the end of the night, you got, hugging the bride and groom and the cliche picture with them and everything. But the person said to me, well, to be honest with you, I can't tell, are you an officiant? Are you if I didn't know you, like I wouldn't even really necessarily know what you did. And that was a big eye opener to me, along the lines of what you're saying. So I think that really definitely makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. And I tell people too, like always, even if you're going to outsource to get a third pair of eyes or another opinion, I always say to do it, because when you're in your own business, you're thinking in your mind. So you're thinking, everyone knows what I do. Everyone knows why I do what I do, but people don't. People don't read minds, and people are not going to go out of their way to figure out what you do. So when people come to your page, it's about 15 seconds before they'll say like, oh, I'm interested, or they move on to someone else because they're like, I don't have the time to investigate who you are. And that's why your branding point from your Instagram bio should really say more than just like wedding planner, location. It should say like why you do what you do. What do you do for your clients that's different from everybody else?
I'm going to go edit my profile today.
Yeah, I'll help you.
Okay, that's good news. That means that Tay can hear you now, Michelle. So that the headphones,
yeah, I can.
The headphones work. That's awesome. Good. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think so. What if somebody is kind of, what happens if somebody kind of is like too over, like where is it too overboard, do you think? Like where do you think that somebody can necessarily, is there a line that somebody could cross in that regard?
What do you mean, like showing your personal life cross?
Yeah, maybe like, is there too? I mean, without the obvious stuff, but like, is there a tipping point where it's like, okay, now you've gone a little too overboard?
I don't know. I think it would depend on who your ideal client is and who you're trying to attract. If you're the kind of person and personality that's like, this is me, take it or leave it, love me or hate me, you're going to attract a certain kind of person that's going to love you. And then there's going to be people who don't like you, but in life, that's going to happen forever. There's going to be people who like you and people who don't. But, as far as showing your personal life, I say, show it on your page. Your page should be at least 25% your life. And I mean, your whole life shouldn't be on social media anyway, because, you should be private in some sense, but people are nosy. Like, that's just a fact. People want to know what you do. Yeah. Like, they just do. But another thing too is people will connect with you because you're a mom, or they're going to connect with you. They're going to feel this weird, like, oh, we relate because we're both moms, or we relate because, we're both in the wedding industry, and we're going to feel connected. People want to feel like they belong. So if someone comes across your page and they are like, oh, wow, we both like tacos, like probably half the world likes tacos, but because I found you and you like them, it's like, oh, we belong together, or we should be friends because we both like tacos. That's the point. So put that stuff out there. I will tell you, I put in my about page, I like IKEA. I've had like 5 women reach out to me about IKEA. Like, most women probably love IKEA, but that's just a talking point. So yeah, I mean, tell people what you like, tell people your interests. Now, should you be putting on your business page like you're partying every weekend, probably not. I would limit that. But if you're in the party industry, like DJs, they get that. They get to, that's an exception. You guys get to party.
Yeah.
Like planners, they have to be more the professional that just plans the party.
No, I think that makes total sense, and I think you're absolutely right. I mean, you just have to probably kind of identify with whatever I'm putting out there. There's a good chance that I'm going to attract that back. You know, so as long as you're kind of okay with what could be attracted back to you, then that's okay. You know, I look at that. I think of that from the standpoint of like, you know, it's no secret everything is going on right now with, you know, with politics and all these other things. And like every single time I think about posting something now, especially, I'm very ultra sensitive about, okay, is this going to offend anybody? If it, or, you know, the other way sometimes to look at it is that I don't necessarily want to offend somebody, but if I can start a conversation that can be a healthy conversation, then that's not maybe such a bad thing either. But I just have to be okay with whatever comes at me with that conversation, I think.
Oh, I completely agree. Am I frozen or can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you just fine, actually. Yep, that's good.
Okay, great. So, yeah, I agree. Right now is it's a weird time to be on social media, and I've expressed this to many friends, family members, my fiance specifically, that it is frustrating that everyone is so sensitive. Because I'm pretty much a straight shooter. I'm just going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to just. Some people don't like that, and that's okay. I know I'm not for everyone, but it is a weird time to feel like, you know, you have to completely censor yourself. And personally, my opinion, just my opinion, is that, you know, if you're racist, maybe keep it to yourself. Don't put it on social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a hard topic, though. I know it is, but I've recently in business, I've lost clients over it because my fiance's African American. So it's been a rough topic lately.
That's tough. Yeah, so definitely sorry to hear that. It's a shame that is a decision that or a factor, right, I should say, in somebody's decision. But sadly, it is the world we live in, and an unfortunate example of how you really do have to be. I know I can't remember if it was the first live we did or the second live we did, and one of our guests asked about, you know, how do we feel about posting political things or posting kind of pop culture things that are going on right now, and I'm just always I would rather just stay completely on the side of cautious and just, you know, if you want to talk about that stuff, maybe talk about it on your personal side of your social identity, but still know and understand that potential clients are still going to find that stuff. They're still going to be able to get to you, and so there's still going to be the possibility of a response that could be positive or negative to, you know, to whatever it is you're posting.
Oh, I agree. I had some clients actually ask me, because I worked with them on social identity and planning, like, what do I post? Do I post? Do I stay quiet? What do I do? And I straight up asked them, what are your thoughts? Tell me how you actually feel. And if you truly feel in your heart that this is wrong, what's going on in the world is wrong, and that you want to stand up for humanity, then you should absolutely be posting that Black Lives Matter, because they do. And if you don't post it, but don't be mad when someone comes to your page and doesn't want to work with you because they don't think that you care about Black lives, because that's what's going to happen. So I think it comes a time that as a professional, when you have a platform and you have a following, that you do have to stand up for what you believe in. And if people don't like you because of it, that's okay. But when you lose clients over it because they don't know where you stand, that's another conversation. I'm planning my wedding. I'm getting married in 6 weeks. And I had multiple venues be very clear. You could tell. And they tried to not, I mean, they didn't say it, but you could tell they did not want to work with us because we were an interracial couple. And to me, it hurts because I've been in the industry for so long. This industry is about love. Like, weddings are love. It's to me, I don't know. I'm the kind of person that if you want to be gay, you want to be straight, you want to be, I don't care. It doesn't affect my life. Like, be happy. So I don't know. It's a tough one for me because the wedding industry is supposed to be about people,
Right.
regardless of anything else, and it hasn't been. So,
yeah, I mean, it's the simple thought process of love is love. I mean, it really should be
Yep.
that simple, and it's sad that that's been taken away. But anyways, I guess we kind of got a little off topic. That's okay. I mean, it all kind of revolves around you being, you putting yourself out there in the social world, because that is the vehicle of how our clients typically find us. Occasionally we get lucky and they circumvent all of that stuff, and maybe they saw us live at an event if we're the type of vendor where they would see that, or maybe they saw a product that we provide live at an event, or maybe they were directly referred to us by somebody who already utilized our services prior to that. But I would still challenge that those people still are going to do their homework, or at least they should. They're going to do their due diligence, and they're going to say, hey, just because my friend thought that, David was a good DJ, I want to make sure that, he's going to hopefully going to play the music that we like, and he's going to be willing to give us kind of the atmosphere that we want to have. That might be something totally different than what our friends was.
Yep, for sure.
All right, so I think we've talked a lot about mindset. We've talked a lot about your why. I think we're kind of getting to the point of now let's talk a little bit about brand, because I think most people think your brand is just your logo. And I think if you're at that point where you feel like your brand is simply your logo, then for the next however long we talk, you need to turn everything off in the house, and you need to definitely listen to the fact that you're only one step on a ladder that climbs a lot higher than just that step, for sure. So I'm going to turn it over to you a little bit. Just talk a little bit about that, because I know you're passionate about that for sure.
I am. So branding is not your logo, and branding is definitely not your colors. And, your business is your business, but at the end of the day, there's a person running it, or people running it, and whoever, clients come to you, and in our industry, they want to know who's behind the computer, who's behind the phone. They want to know who's behind the business. They don't care about your logo, to be honest with you. They don't. They're not gonna be like, ooh, I didn't work with her because her logo is trash. Like, no one says that. And no one cares about your branding colors. I mean, yeah, obviously colors and psychology go into play. But a lot of times people are going to work with you because of your mission, your core values, your philosophy, your why. And that is your brand. That is what sets you apart from everyone else, as I've been saying, keeps you, standing out in a saturated market. And that is your brand. So at the end of the day, if you wanted to rebrand, or you wanted to rename your business, you wanted to pick different colors or a different logo, it wouldn't matter, because at the end of the day, you're still you still have the same, core values. And you really need to figure out, what are those foundations? So what is the concrete of my business? The concrete of your business is going to be your core values, your mission, your why. And then when you're building your house, then you can start to worry about your colors and, what paint you're going to put on your house. So that's what I really want you guys to think of when you think of branding, is laying down the foundation first, because you wouldn't build a house on nothing, and you wouldn't paint the foundation of your house. So
I think that makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. So I think, Michelle, I wanted to kind of bring you in the conversation a little bit. I know that's probably, in a way, being a wedding planner, that probably kind of speaks to the same thing when you're talking to maybe brides about their wedding itself, and understanding that your wedding is really not just about the color and so on and so forth, but really more about your personality and such.
Yeah. So do you mean like every individual wedding we do, or sorry, can you rephrase that?
No, it's okay. No, I mean, I just think in general, like when you're talking to a couple, maybe having to dive a little bit deeper than just, hey, we want this shade of pink and this color of green, and we want this type of flowers, and so on and so forth. Like the wedding, there has to be more to the wedding than just kind of those surface elements.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely see, I say every wedding is different. So I guess it's a good way to look at it. Each client, their wedding has a different brand almost. They have, values that they want to bring in or traditions or things that are more important to them. So we definitely dive in further than your color scheme that your bridal party is going to be wearing and things like that. So
Well, and I think it helps, it definitely helps us as, regardless of what position or role that we play in the events with our clients. I think when we have a better understanding of this concept of what a brand truly is, I think it helps us ask better questions of our clients. It helps us be able to understand the experience that they're looking for so that we can, well, first of all, we can decipher, can we offer that experience in the first place? And then B, if we can, how are we going to be able to accomplish that experience with them? And is there anything that maybe we can kind of be the icing on the cake that maybe they hadn't even thought of? So I think understanding this concept of what your brand truly is can transcend into that as well with events. Tay, you got any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I would say, I think it's hard because what I've realized in being in the industry is that a lot of wedding vendors are just creative. They're not really business on the business side of things. So being creative, that's what you naturally tend to go to is, worrying about your colors or worrying about, the visual aspect, the creative aspect, and not really the business aspect. But I think, you really you got to nail down what it is how you want to serve, I guess, how you want to serve your clients to be better. And if you don't know, I would say do market research. Ask people what it is that they struggle with, brides, couples. What is it that they really want out of their wedding? What is it they want out of their vendor that would set you apart, and really listen to what they say, because a lot of times we think we know what somebody wants, but really we don't know. So market research, talk to people, ask them, what would your, best wedding experience with a vendor be like, and really start taking notes. You talk to 5 couples and they all tell you that, it would be this and it's all the same. It's probably a good idea that you start there.
Well, and I think another pretty cool thing that was brought out to me once before, when I felt like I was kind of struggling with trying to identify what my brand was, and somebody gave me the advice to go look at the past reviews that you have from clients, especially those 5-star top reviews, and what did they say? What were the things that they specifically talked about? And like, write one down and then write another one down. And then if number 3 is the same as number 1, put a check mark against number 1, and then just go through them. And then what are those things? Like, what are the most things that people are talking about? And in all reality, that's kind of your brand before you don't even mentally understand that. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, that's my brand right there.
Yeah,
that's really
that's
who
awesome.
I am. So
I love that.
That was a huge help for me.
That's actually really creative. I love that, because that's easier way. It's market research, but it's even more custom market research. But that's funny you say that, because I, up until this year, never thought of it. But then all my reviews have said this, that you're way more than a virtual assistant. Like, you shouldn't even call yourself a virtual assistant, because you're not. And so that's now part of our branding, is that we are way more than a virtual assistant company. And I truly stand by that, because we are. I do very personalized work. It's not just transaction. It's not just money for time or money for services. And especially in the wedding industry, if you're only in it for money, this probably won't be the industry for you, because you really have to, client and customer experience is what will put you over the top for sure.
Literally every single person that I ever interview about working with my company, that's one of the first things I say to them. If you're looking to make money, and especially if you're coming into this with no experience and you're looking to make money right now, this is probably not the right industry for you to jump into. It's going to take you some time. You know what I mean? It's going to take you some time to, get your feet wet and get your legs underneath yourself to even understand there's so much psychology in our industry. It's really fascinating. Like, I feel like we could do an entire live discussion just on the psychology of our industry and of events, and how understanding that psychology can completely maybe revolutionize or change how you do your business. It's really fascinating to me. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you're absolutely right. And to your credit too, I actually saw, I want to say maybe it was in the DJ's Vault. It was somewhere that I saw that you did a webinar similar to like we're doing right now, and you touched on the mission statement, the core values, it's those types of things. And I actually really honestly sat down after watching that and did put those together, and even went so far as to make a page on my website that says, this is our mission, this is our core values, et cetera, because like, I want you to know who we are, what we stand for, and what you're working with, and want you to realize that we've put that thought process into it to show you that we're not just a DJ company that wants to make a buck, come play some music, and go home and move on to the next one. So I really have to thank you actually for that, because I had never even thought about that until I saw that and you had discussed that. So I think it's super important. Now, has anybody ever looked at that page? I don't know, but I have. Here's one thing I have done. I have prompted people. I should go look at my analytics, because I have prompted people in like emails that I send to them, like, hey, by the way, if you'd like to know a little bit more about our company, please visit this page. You may have missed it as you were, surfing around our website, kind of a thing. So yeah, I think that's awesome stuff.
Yeah, I love that. I think everyone needs to have that, because when you are getting into the wedding industry specifically, you should really think about who is your ideal client. And I know it's easy, like, oh, couples, but like, no, like, what kind of couples do you want to work with? Because there are all types of couples, and I'm not talking like skin color, hair color. I'm talking like deep rooted into like with a planner. Planner specifically, like, you're the professional. People come to you because you are the professional. And then when you have a bride be like, don't do it that way, do it this way, don't do it, like, that's very overwhelming. It's very frustrating. It's like, okay, I know what I'm doing, please trust me. And if that is anxiety to you, those are not your brides. You will not want to work with them, because it won't feel fun. It won't feel like you're in the right place. So when you're branding, you want to really nail down, like, who is it that I want to work with? And then put your writing and put out your mission and your philosophies. So when people come to your page, you're like, wow, she's literally speaking to me. Like, she wants to work with me. She's talking directly to me. And you want your website, your Instagram to feel to the client or lead as if you are talking directly to them. That is what will sell them. If you're just talking to a wide range, or you don't even know who you're talking to, you're not going to be able to bring in that, that ideal client. And you're just going to get people, you might get high end, you might get low end, you might get median, who are just coming to from all places because they don't know. When you say, we're high end luxury wedding planning who works with this kind of bride, that high end bride's going to be like, oh, wow, that's me. That low end bride's going to be like, that's not me. She's automatically going to go to somebody else.
It's interesting. I think a big topic in our industry right now, and I see it a lot in the DJ world, is this whole luxury market and so on and so forth. And I think that people need to really be aware of. It sounds good. I mean, immediately when you think luxury, you think people have money, you can charge more for the same thing and blah, 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 blah. But it really is a whole different world. And I don't think it's a world that you can just play in. Like, you really got to know what you're getting yourself into if you go out there and claim to be a luxury anything.
Yeah. I would
have you experienced with have you had any experience with a client that maybe was trying to do that and you kind of had to reel them back in and be like, okay, here are some things that we need to adjust for you?
Oh, for sure. I'm very honest, and I will tell my clients I will tell you, I think you're a good fit for this, or I don't think this is a good idea, because your success pays my bills. So if you're not successful, I'm not successful. I want you to be successful. So, the luxury market, I think a lot of people think of luxury as, high end, top dollar, but I think also other people's perspectives could be different of luxury. So I want people to know that if you're getting into luxury, really research, know your stuff, because those couples, those brides parents will be the toughest people you ever work with. Typically the people that are paying more for a wedding are going to be your harder clients. It's just a fact. But you can also be a 6-7 vendor without being in the luxury market too. So I recently been coaching some florists and teaching them, because they were like, well, we're really in the middle, we really want to go high end. And I was like, well, why don't you not go luxury, but why don't you offer full planning? So you're delivering the florals, you're setting up, so you're charging higher prices for the median bride. You know what I'm saying? So you're still making more money, but you're offering more service for the money. So you can still be a 6-7 figure vendor, but you're not luxury. Because if you don't want to work with a luxury bride, you just want luxury money, you will not be happy.
Mm-mm.
No, that's a really good point. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with, shifting and adjusting your message to be able to dominate that middle to high middle before you start getting into that luxury market. There's not, what you're saying makes complete sense. Why not just dominate the market that you're already have a share of, and understand you're already speaking to that client as it is. Now let's just speak to more of those types of clients.
Exactly. Yes, for sure. And two, if you really are serious about being in a luxury industry and that's really where you want to be because you just love it, I would say maybe work side by side or collaborate with, maybe another planner and say, I really want more experience in there. If you needed an assistant to come one day, I would love to assist you because I'm free this weekend. Go and really work with her or him or whoever the planner is and see, like, do I really like this or really see myself in this position before you just throw in and go all in, because it is a very tough market. But it's not the only market that makes money in the wedding industry. And like you said, if you master your area of expertise and you love it, that's going to come out. That passion will naturally come out. People will gravitate to you. You'll probably have double the clients because you're happy. You're making double the money anyway. So do what makes you happy. Don't do it for $1.
I think those are all very, very, very good suggestions, very good points. And yeah, I mean, I talk about it all the time. I would, any brand new person that's thinking about getting into DJing, I would gladly bring them along with me to an event any day of the week and say, look, I don't want you to see the glitz and glamour of what you probably see on Instagram and all of that stuff.
Yes.
I want you to see the schlepping equipment and having to park 5 miles down the road because we live in St. Augustine and there's nowhere to friggin' park in St. Augustine, right? And so you're parked 5 miles down the road and you're carrying your cart and dodging traffic. And if it's raining, you're even more screwed. And like, there's all of those things that we have to deal with that we're naturally not snapping a friggin' photo for Instagram during that time of the situation, right? Maybe we should. That's typically not like Instagram, material.
Worthy.
But I think that, to your point, I mean, it's a really good thing. And I've really, I've been in this industry for forever. I mean, I can't even tell you how many years now it seems like, but I've never really understood why there's not a better appreciation for shadowing or apprenticeship and things like that within this industry, because I really think people could get so much further, so much faster if they were willing to do those kind of things, just step up and learn,
Yes. Yep.
You're not going to learn how to be a wedding planner. You're not going to learn how to be a DJ. You're not going to learn how to be a photographer. You're not going to learn how to do any of those things on YouTube or anything else. I know that there's people that on there that'll tell you that they'll teach you, but your experience is the only true teacher of this industry. I think. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I really am passionate about feeling that, experience is really the true teacher of this industry.
Yeah, and when you say, yeah, for sure. And when you say, like, you can go online and there's a million people teaching master classes and free courses and free this and templates and all that stuff is great. But if it's not very, very specific to your niche, plus what you want to get out of it, it's going to be general. It's going to be a waste of money. It's probably going to be a waste of time. Those $67 courses, like, okay, but are you really going to stick with it, or are you going to do it for like a couple of days and then forget about it? So if you truly want to learn and you truly want to be an expert and you want to be a 6-figure vendor, you want to be this full in, it's not just like, half-ass essentially, then you're right. You should shadow, you should work with other people. You should continue learning. Like I said, October, I've been in the industry 5 years. I'm continuously learning because things change. The industry changes, people change, and it's a forever learning experience. But between learning and outsourcing, you can't lose. But don't limit yourself to like, I can do everything, I know everything, because none of us
You
do.
don't. I learn something new every wedding. Every wedding I learn something new. So
yes, that means you're doing the right thing.
Yep.
Outsourcing, that's a really good maybe topic to just address for a couple minutes. I think a lot of times people probably have the question of, how do I figure out what I should outsource? So if somebody asks that question, Tay, what is your advice on how I should figure out what I should outsource?
Okay, let me get out my chart here. I have it all charted out. I give this to all my clients. I have this chart. You draw a cross on your paper. If something is, you really just list it out. So if it's urgent and important, meaning that you need to do it within 24 hours, you should be doing it, and you should be doing it now. If it is important to your company, to your success, to your clients, but it's not urgent, you should be scheduling it. If it is urgent but not important, you should be delegating. And if it's not important and not urgent, you should be taking it off your list completely. So with outsourcing, if your business needs it, can't survive without it, but you hate doing it or you don't have the time to do it, you should be outsourcing it. Absolutely outsourcing. And now a lot of people are like, well, I don't have the money to outsource. I'm like, well, you probably do have the money. I'm sure we all do at some level. But this is the thing with outsourcing. It's not, you're just throwing your money into the wind and it's gone. That should be an investment. You should be getting a return with whoever it is that you hire. You're getting more time. So what is that time giving you? Is it giving you more time to network, more time with clients, better customer experience, more time with your family, more time to be sane? Or what are you getting back? 'Cause if you're hiring a marketing director, they should be bringing you clients consistently. So that's money. If you're hiring an assistant who's running your entire back end, you have excellent client experience. You have processes and workflows consistently bringing you clients and leads. And leads are now booking you because they're all getting answered within 12 hours and back and forth, rapid fire, no time in between. Twice many people are booking you. So outsourcing is scary because a lot of us have been solopreneurs or are, and it's like that letting go of that control of like, I can do it, I've been doing it. But at some point, if you want to go to the next level, if you want to scale, if you want a team, if you want to hit 6 figures, ads are not the way. That will not do it for you. Ads are never the way. Outsource to people who know the industry, who you can trust, and will bring you an ROI.
Very good points. Very good points. Hey guys, once again, if you're watching and you have a question for Tay, this is the time to ask it. This is the time to get your questions answered. We definitely want to get those answered for you. I see my buddy Derek Hayden jumped on. Want to say hi to him, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope everything's going good for you guys up there in Nebraska. So yeah, I was thinking when you were talking about that, what are maybe the top, say, I don't know, 2 or 3 things that you find that the majority of your clients kind of gravitate towards outsourcing?
Social media, content creation and planning, all social media, and admin. So a lot of it's emails and keeping up with leads, making sure that their CRM and their pipeline is moving very consistently. But I would say before you hire someone to run the back end of your company or hire an assistant, I would make sure that, first of all, you know exactly the position that you're hiring for. What is it specifically that you want them to do and accomplish? And make sure that your back end is semi-organized, unless you're going to have somebody come in that's an expert who can clean up your back end. So I do back end cleanups for people because I'm very, organized and type A. But if you're just hiring an assistant off the street because she has like high school experience, then if you don't know what you're hiring for, you don't know what you want them to accomplish, they're not going to know. And then you're not going to be happy. You're going to feel like, oh, I wasted time and money. And then they're going to feel not needed. It's not going to work. So make sure that you have a very specific system written out of what you want them to do and accomplish, and what your business core values are that they need to be following.
Okay, I had somebody text me a question for you and said, okay, I feel like I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially saying, to me, obviously the most important thing I need is leads. What is the best, what's the best bang for my buck to start generating more leads in your opinion? Because you had mentioned ads, and I know a lot of people talk about Facebook ads, and a lot of people think Facebook ads are the way to go. So maybe with that mindset, any advice maybe for that?
Okay, so I do a lot of like holistic coaching, because again, almost 5 years in, I don't pay for ads. I don't pay for, like, the knot and wedding wire have seemed in my years of experience to be a waste of money, because yes, they bring you leads and people will say, oh, well, if one client books, it's worth your money. Well, you're taking so much time sifting through a bunch of crap that's not anything, and you're consistently following up with them, aka more time, and they're not turning into anything. So again, Facebook ads for me have been a waste of money. I say, if you're not a 6-figure vendor, don't do them. If you are a 6-figure vendor, then we can talk about ads. But until then, really what you need to think of is that you need to be growing a funnel. So, a funnel's big at the top, it gets smaller. For all business. And that funnel is not a sales funnel, it's relationship funnels. So you need to start building relationships that will then funnel down into potential clients, because at some point, most people either get married or know someone that's getting married or know someone that's engaged. So building relationships. Now, where do you build them? You can network, talk to people, get on podcasts, Facebook groups. You can go to local events. You can reach out to local vendors. Say, hey, can I be on your preferred vendor list? All the vendors that you're working with, be on their preferred vendor list. Those are all relationships, bring money. A referral program. Like for me, anyone who brings me a client, they book with me, you get $50. You bring me 3 clients, at the end of the month, I cash out, I give you $150. That's quick and easy. I know if you don't have money, maybe you offer something else, and it can be a smaller amount than that. But really, are you on Instagram building relationships? Are you talking to people? And I'm not saying like DMing like, hey, saw you were engaged, let's chat. No, people don't want to be sold. Are you building real relationships with people? Like talking to them about their tacos and their cats and their children, and having real conversations. So I built some relationships recently. We've been friends on Instagram for over a year, and it was just back and forth chat, like about random stuff. And now today, those are both my clients. Did it take a year? Yes, it did. But I'm not salesy. I'm not going to go out of my way to push something on someone that's not ready. So really be cautious of, first of all, how does your brand look? How are you attracting people? Do you know who you're attracting? And then are you building real relationships with people? That should be generating enough leads and enough income to then outsource. Then you can worry about outsourcing, marketing, lead generation, ads, all that stuff.
Well, I think to your point of social media and building those relationships on social media, I think a lot of times we can find ourselves guilty of being kind of very one-sided when it comes to social media. And what I mean by that is we're constantly putting content out there, expecting people to comment on it or like it or share it or something like that. But then you kind of have to do evaluation and say, well, how much of that am I really doing for other people as well? It really has to be a two-way street. And I think that could be a boat that some people miss that opportunity.
For sure.
Well, I know that you have a family. I know you have a young child. I don't want to take up a bunch of your time. I want to wrap the night up with maybe just, I don't know, 3, 5, whatever number you pick it. I would really love to give the people that are watching now, the people that will watch the replay. And by the way, guys, we're almost done here. So if you do have questions, if you do have something you want Tay to address, now is the time to please put those in the comments, because we're almost done. But in the meantime, if that does or doesn't happen, I would love to leave everybody with maybe, again, you pick the number, but just some actionable steps that they can literally get off of this right now, start doing tomorrow, start doing when they get off. Don't even wait till tomorrow. Like, don't wait till tomorrow. Do it immediately when you get off of here.
Okay.
some things that they can do. And then lastly, after that, I'd really love for you to just share a little bit about how people can get in touch with you, because you do offer an amazing service. I don't want that to be overlooked, because I think what you do is absolutely incredible. And that's one of the reasons why, other than becoming friends with each other, that I wanted you to be on here to help folks with. So let's start with those actionable steps first.
Okay, action number 1, get this book. It's called You're a Badass at Making Money. One of the best books I've ever read. I tell everyone, read this book. It's freaking amazing. So that's action number 1. Number 2, start some kind of like journaling. And I know when I say journaling, people are like, no, but I'm talking about like gratitude and affirmations, and maybe even just like writing down your limiting beliefs. When something comes up like, oh, I'm too fearful of that, or some kind of mindset belief, write it down and then ask yourself, like, is this true? Investigate it and kind of get to the root of whatever it is that's holding you back. Like, are you fearful of success? Are you, what are those deep rooted mindset issues? Because I promise you, if you start changing the way you look at things, it will start changing your business and changing the money that comes to you. So that would be number 2. Number 3 would be really get clear on why you do what you do, and write down all the notes you can think of why do you get out of bed in the morning? Why does your company even exist? Why did it start? How did it start? Write it down and then try to make sense of it. Update your Instagram bio to be very clear about who you are, who you work with, what you bring to the table, and like how quick do they get that result, or what is the end result of working with you. So my bio has probably updated about 10 times in the last 3 months. But like, for instance, I'm a virtual assistant company. I work with wedding vendors to help them achieve to become a 6-figure vendor. So that would be number 3. Number 4 is check your branding, not your logos and your colors, but how you're appearing, to other people. And be really cautious of, or ask someone if you know someone that would give you maybe free advice, or just like for me, I offer $50 social audits. I'll audit and I'll talk to you on the phone for 20 minutes. I'll give you some quick updates you can make like that in your branding. And then number 5 would be hire me.
Right? We should have led with that. We should have just led with that. Well, I got a couple of comments here. Derek, my buddy from Nebraska, said that he really loves that your outlook on lead generation. So that's cool. With a handful of really good handful of clapping hand emojis. And Aaron and Ernie, our guests from last week, said awesome advice. Thank you so much, Tay, for that. So I think we really got some good stuff addressed this evening. So I appreciate you doing that. Yay. Michelle, you got anything before we wrap up?
I learned a lot.
Yay, I'm so happy.
I learned a lot. This was a good one. Like they all are, but I really feel like, one, I connect with you on the type A thing. That's 100% me. So
Michelle and I literally had a conversation about that today. That's why I tried to put it down to her when you said that.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? This is an action item people could do. Take the DISC test on Tony Robbins. It's free. And the Enneagram test. And that will really tell you who you are as a person and how you work with other people. And that will help you with hiring, because you'll know like what kind of person should you hire, because you'll work well together.
That Enneagram test is amazing. That is unreal. I mean, anybody who doesn't know about that, you're missing the boat. I did that and was blown away.
What are your numbers? Do you guys know?
I've never done it.
I want to say, I think 4. I think my number is 4. I got to go back and look. It's either 4 or 8. I can't remember.
Okay.
I know it's one of those two even numbers. So I think it's either 4 or 8. I haven't looked at it in a while. But it blew me away. When I read it, I was like, oh my God, it's like they were literally standing in front of me writing down about me. It was pretty scary.
Yeah.
So, well, that's good stuff. Yeah. So if folks want to get a hold of you, Tay, I'll put it in the show notes, but what's your best way of being reached so we can have people reach out to you?
You can reach me on Instagram at itsvatay, or you can email me at tay@itsvatay.com. So either one, I'm always on Instagram and email every single day. An email does not go unread, so don't worry. Very perfectionist. But yeah, you reach out to me. And if you guys just have like questions, or I do, I'm open book. I'll give business advice all day. I love it. So reach out.
Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you for coming on tonight. We hope that we can invite you to come back and join us again. Maybe we'll revisit everything in a couple months. Hopefully by then there'll be some of our members will be clients and will be utilizing the services that you offer. And they definitely, I know for a fact they won't go wrong for doing so. So I think I definitely want to give you my personal endorsement from that standpoint. So,
but don't wait till busy season.
What's that?
Don't wait till busy season to hire. Right. Do it before, like you said, get everything in order before, and don't wait to hire me because I will then put you on a wait list and it's not fun. So hire early. Yep.
And Erin said we've got to chat the Enneagram in California. She's going to take the test in the meantime. Before then, a bunch of us are all. Are you going to go to the California thing? By the way, Tay, did they talk to you about that? The collective in California. Did Joe and those guys?
So is it in person or it's virtual?
Yeah, believe it or not, it's in person. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm in Kansas City, but probably like 95% of my clientele has been California. So it'd be cool to go out there, but COVID's scary right now. So.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It really is. Well, I'll send you some information about it offline. I know it's kind of last minute. Okay, cool. It's like next month, so but I'll give you some information about it. Yeah, it's next month.
My wedding's next month.
Oh, that's right. What's the wedding? What's your wedding date again?
August 22nd.
I literally think it falls into that time frame or right after that.
Oh, seriously?
So, yeah, it probably isn't the best time. Well, congratulations. You guys are awesome. You guys are such a cute couple. I love all your engagement photos you've been posting. So, that is really cool stuff. Well, thank you again for joining us. Michelle, thank you for being on again. And we're gonna let you go so you can get dinner.
I actually ate earlier today.
Oh, look at that.
I ate before this time. I had some time in between. So, but Kay, thanks for joining us. It was really awesome. And I really enjoyed all the information.
And
thanks for having me. This was fun.
We're actually not going to be on next week. There's both me and Nick, as you guys, if you're a person that comes back and watches quite often, you'll notice that there's not a fourth box on here that has Nick on it. So he's out of town this week, and then he and I both are going to be out of town next week. So we're going to take next week off, but we will be back the following week. So stick around for that. We'll post that in the group. And the last thing I'll say before I leave is invite everybody you know that's a wedding vendor, especially people that are struggling with their business, people that are even if they're just struggling in one part of their business, invite them to be a part of this group, because this group is about community. This group is about love. This group is about helping you. And we're going to continue to keep bringing you amazing people like Tay to offer suggestions and offer help. And then if you resonate with those people, you can continue that relationship beyond just beyond just these live talks that we have. But we're still going to give you stuff just like Tay did tonight to be able to really, move into the next step and just put those steps into action. So please do it. Don't just listen and ignore it. Take her advice, get the book. If you don't like to read, get the audio book and listen to it when you drive around town, and it will definitely help you out. So with that said, thank you guys very much for coming on tonight. We appreciate you, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.